now turn up.
What up is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. We are here with a new video. We do daily videos every single day. And we have a Jerry Jeudy free signed jersey giveaway. We think I have about 150 people left. And then we get to give that away to one of you guys. And we get to go on to the next giveaway. Because I want to do bigger and better giveaways. Remember, that is what this channel is going to be all about. Is fantasy football, dynasty football, and doing some giveaways so we can make some people happy. Why not? All right. So we're going to be talking about Julio Jones. He was traded to the Tennessee Titans, which we knew Julio Jones was going to go to a different team. We knew that him and Atlanta was that relationship was pretty much breaking up. So we'll go through Atlanta briefly here because Atlanta's, I guess, impact is not as much because we already knew that he was 1 foot out the door. We didn't know what team he was going to go to. That was the big thing. We didn't know if it was going to be Tennessee, Baltimore, blah, 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 other teams down the road. All right. So, Matt Ryan, he's going to have a little bit of a dip here. He gets Kyle Pitts. He gets the upgrade at tight end. He loses Julio Jones. So, we have to look at where does that put Matt Ryan. It puts Matt Ryan right into that kind of second-tier quarterbacks with Kirk Cousins, with Baker Mayfield, right into that 15 range, even maybe slightly behind Ryan Tannehill. So, we have this kind of tier where you have these quarterbacks that are probably not going to be top 5 quarterbacks, but they're also not going to be quarterback 20 and on. They're going to be this solid quarterback that's going to be very fluctuating, kind of a Phillip Rivers, maybe a Big Ben type. I say 4,000 passing yards. He's going to have 30 touchdowns. Like, you're going to have a very kind of baseline for Matt Ryan. That's going to be Matt Ryan. Yes, he's had years where he's been a top 2, 3 fantasy quarterback. I don't see that happening for him this year or in the upcoming years because I think he's down on weapons. You look at his running backs. His running backs are basically just Mike Davis and maybe Javion Hawkins, which is not much. And then you look at his weapons. You have Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley, and who else? Who else is going to be there? That's going to be a big question going forward. So the biggest, I guess, people are going, well, Calvin Ridley, where does his impact go? Well, I already have him as a borderline top 10 dynasty wide receiver. And the wide receivers ahead of him we're talking about are DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, even like DK Metcalf. And I would still rather have those wide receivers over Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley's kind of in this phase where he's with like Chris Godwin and that kind of tier. There's CeeDee Lamb. Would you rather have CeeDee Lamb or Calvin Ridley? There's an argument there to have. I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb personally, but because Calvin Ridley, again, he seems like he's a young wide receiver, but he's even 3-4 years older than CeeDee Lamb. So I'd rather have the extra 3-4 years of CeeDee Lamb. That's the reason why. And same with DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson. Like, he's not going into that tier. He's into this kind of tier of that right around wide receiver 10. I think maybe I had him below Chris Godwin. Now he just moves above Chris Godwin. That's pretty much all he can do in this situation. He's going to get hyper targeted. So Matt Ryan, his change doesn't really change that much. I mean, maybe a little bit down, but I mean, he is where he is. I mean, he's quarterback right around 15. It's not going to affect Mike Davis. Wide receiver, Calvin Ridley, it's going to affect him slightly. He has a better chance of being he's more safer than he was a week ago. I mean, he had more risk when Julio was going to be in. Like, he had more risk of being a potentially wide receiver, like end of wide receiver 2, high end of wide receiver 3, if Julio was there taking all these targets away. Now, we go into tight end, Kyle Pitts. What is that going to happen with him? That just means he's going to get more and more targets. Kyle Pitts is now in the situation, and I'm in a dynasty league too, where I have Jonnu Smith as my starter, and I have a couple other tight ends, and really my tight end position is weak, and I have pick 7, and I know Kyle Pitts is not going to make it to pick 7. I see there's 1 or 2 teams ahead of me that are tight end needy that are going to take him, and he could even be a top 3 pick, honestly. In a lot of leagues, you're going to see that. You're going to see Chase, you're going to see Harris, Chase, Pitts, probably in that kind of order. Maybe Javonte Williams mixed in there. Travis Etienne slightly mixed in there as well. I think Pitts is going to be ADP 3, 4, right into that range. Maybe even moving, probably sticking right around that 3 range, just because people are going to be desperate for tight ends. A lot of teams are very, very desperate for tight ends and want tight ends. So what does that mean for Kyle Pitts? Well, I have pick 7. It's like, do I add pick 7 in 2022 first and try to move up and try to get into that top 4 range? And does that do it? Probably not. It probably doesn't do it. I'm going to throw offers out there and try to get 7 plus 2022 first and try to move up and try to see if I can get Pitts. It's one of those, it'll probably be a draft day trade because I want to see how far Kyle Pitts potentially goes. Because if he's picked 2, I'm not going to be able to. That would suck. It always would suck if you get picked 3 and all of a sudden Pitts goes 2 and it's like, well, I just traded my 2022 first. You have to have some safety and stuff like that. Some of it's a gamble, but I don't want to trade pick 7 and 2022 first for pick 3 or pick 4 and then get sniped right before it, because that can easily happen and definitely in these leagues. And then all of a sudden now I just traded up, and yeah, I still would potentially get Javonte Williams, which I kind of like, but we'll see. We'll see what exactly. I'll throw some offers out there, see exactly what I can get in return. I'll keep everyone updated on that situation. So Kyle Pitts, for me, he's slowly moving up into these wide receivers of like Chase and Devontae Smith. I'd rather have him than Waddle. It's just he's into this category where he's like 4, 5-ish, 6. I can see him in this tier, like anywhere from, I think, Travis Etienne, Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts. That's kind of a tier, and then Jalen Waddle is just the end of that tier. I would say he's behind Kyle Pitts. That's all I would say. I think Javonte Williams is clear 2, and I think Najee Harris is clear 1. That's what I think. And so let's go to what do we think on the Tennessee side. They get added Julio. Ryan Tannehill already my QB 12 in Dynasty, so I don't think I can really move him up further than that. I think it's going to be a really good situation for Ryan Tannehill. But Ryan Tannehill, again, he seems like he's young, but he's already on the other side of 30. So we have to see, well, where can I move him up above? Do I move him up above like the Rodgers and Herberts and stuff like that? And you can't. Even above Burrow, it's like, would you rather have Burrow or Tannehill? I'd rather have Burrow. He's got an extra 7, 8 years on his QB life expectancy here for NFL. And so Ryan Tannehill, not really moving much. Henry doesn't really affect him either. I mean, maybe he gets slightly less yards, but he's going to get more touchdown opportunities, because they're going to be a better offense. For A.J. Brown, though, I mean, people are like, oh my goodness, this is a huge hit on A.J. Brown. I think on the contrary. I think A.J. Brown is still an amazing, amazing wide receiver. And anything, they're going to have to put coverage on Julio. And that was the big problem with Corey Davis, is he didn't suck enough coverage. And so a lot of times they would double and triple team A.J. Brown. Now he has Julio. It's one of those crutch arguments. You could say, well, they brought in a second wide receiver, so he's going to get less targets. Now, they also could say, well, yeah, he's there, and that is going to be able to allow him to have more space. Either way, I think A.J. Brown stays as a top 5 Dynasty wide receiver. This doesn't really change much for me. So, yeah, you could say at the end of this 7.5 minutes, you could say not much has changed. This is kind of like one of those, it's a good fit for both teams. It's a good fit for Tennessee to get Julio for being a better maybe playoff team. But for fantasy football production wise, I guess it doesn't really do a lot. Julio, he's my wide receiver 32 in Dynasty. Is that going to change much? Again, I guess consensus is probably not. Maybe slightly downgrade just because they're not a high powered offense. So maybe a little bit down for Julio. But again, I mean, you have equal quarterback from Ryan to Tannehill, and you have probably equal opportunity because you have literally just A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry can't catch. So you have all this target share left available. Corey Davis plus maybe some targets, because I think Julio is better than Corey Davis. I mean, that's pretty obvious. When Corey Davis was rookie, there was arguments that he was the next Julio, but that's past. It's in the past. But I think that's one of those things. I think we just have to see where it's at, and it's like not much has changed. So I'm sorry that this video wasn't super helpful, but I just want to make sure that people are not selling everything or buying everything because of this huge this trade or change. Not much has changed. It's actually just kind of neutral, which I kind of like trades like that. I like things that don't go crazy. If you went to Baltimore, we would have talked about Rashad Bateman and Lamar Jackson and, oh my goodness, what happened to Baltimore and all these different things. But we don't have to, thank goodness. All right? So this is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads, where we do daily Dynasty videos. Here's Jerry Judy signing free signed jersey. All you have to do is be a subscriber. Get a chance to win. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Now turn up.